You've been in India for what, a month now? A little more than that?
Yes.
When you say front room and back room in India, it doesn't mean the same as the US. It's not a two-bedroom.
आम्हाला एक बेडरूम लिव्हिंग रूम आणि किचन होतं आणि गच्ची होती कारण आम्ही वरच्या मजल्यावर होतो. द कोकण दॅट आय केम फ्रॉम वॉज अ डिफरंट प्लेस दॅन हिज कोकण.
खेकडे होते, हे होतं आणि ते म्हणत होते खाली कधी बघू नकोस. विरारून आला सकाळी तर बाहेरच आतमध्ये शिरायला येत नाही आणि बाहेर पण पडायला येत नाही.
त्याच्या आईला सांगितलं मी लग्नाला येतोय. त्यांनी 25 मुली बघितल्या.
तेव्हा फोटोज नव्हते.
नाही प्रत्यक्ष जाऊन बघायचं, चहा पाणी घ्यायचं आणि मुलगी सिलेक्ट करायची.
That sounds like some hard work there.
Oh yeah.
Hey guys, Dr. Nene here. I practice as a cardiothoracic, vascular, and general surgeon, and I'm now a health tech innovator who wants to improve lifespans and lifestyles. So stay healthy, stay curious, and keep watching.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I have a real treat for you. I've got the parental units with me, and we're going to get a little spoken history lesson, but more importantly, kind of connect on why, right? A lot of what we do in our lifetimes is dictated by their journeys as well. And so we're going to learn a little bit about what they've done, also what their observations are with regard to the boys, with regard to what their lives have been, and with the obstacles and struggles they went through and what they see in our generation as well as the next generation. So welcome to the channel. You've been in India for what, a month now, a little more than that?
Yeah.
How do you find it versus when you left? Now you left in what, 1963?
Mm-hmm.
And tell us a little bit about that. You live not far away from here in Dadar.
Yeah, we lived near Shivaji Park,
Okay.
and it was a good place, and we thought it was quite convenient. And now when we come back and live
So
with,
you grew up in Shivaji Park?
Yeah.
yes,
And how many were you in your family?
we were, I have 3 brothers and 1 sister,
Yeah.
and my parents. And then our beds were not separate room beds. they were on one bed, there will be 4 beds.
Mattresses.
And whenever the guests came to our house, my brother and I are doing like this.
When are they
and
leaving?
say with.
So
"When are
basically you
they
couldn't
leaving?"
sleep until they left.
Yeah, absolutely. Then we had to pull them on the ground, all these beds, and we used to sleep.
And I
in those.
experienced that because every summer I would come back in the monsoon because it was our summer break, and they would have these beds stacked up, and it was just a front room and a back room.
Correct.
And when you say front room and back room in India, it doesn't mean the same as the US. It's not a 2-bedroom.
Yeah.
It's literally a 2-bedroom, right?
2 rooms.
2 rooms.
2 rooms. And then there was just a restroom and a shower, and that's it.
And that's lucky for us.
And so your mom and dad raised 5 kids in that.
Correct.
And how about you? You were in.
I was in a
Hindu
little
colony.
bit of shape as far as the accommodation goes. आम्हाला एक बेडरूम लिव्हिंग रूम आणि किचन होतं आणि गच्ची होती कारण आम्ही वरच्या मजल्यावर होतो. पण मोर दॅन दॅट अवर फन वॉज बिकॉज माझ्या वडिलांना 9 भावंडं होती आणि सगळे आमच्या घरी एका पाठोपाठ राहायला आलेले आहेत. त्यामुळे नेवर हॅड अ हाऊस विदाउट अंकल्स अँड आंट्स अँड कझन्स ऑलवेज लिव्हिंग विथ अस.
So he had 12 altogether, didn't he?
No, 9. 9 brothers and
12.
sisters, 9.
9 plus
No,
2.
he including 9. The 2 died when they were younger.
Got it. And so they came from the Gao.
Konkan,
named
Konkan.
Konkan,
Trimbak,
right?
Trimbak.
And I think the interesting part is roots, generations. So both you guys came from Konkan at one point or another. And they all came from like farming community.
Yeah.
Even now we have people there with
पण
shades and
त्यांचा
stuff like
अनुभव
that.
माझ्यापेक्षा वेगळा होता. The Konkan that I came from was a different place than his Konkan.
Okay.
And our Konkan had विहीर, पाट, विहिरीतून पाणी काढून न्यायला लागायचं. संडास अगदी बाहेर होते, खाली जाऊन वर जायचं तिकडे. म्हणजे अगदी रिअली ओल्ड फॅशन. यू वेंट इन देअर, खालच्या बाजूला मोठं बोलू नये पण हे ठेवलेलं असायचं पिंप. अँड समबडी देन विल कम अँड टेक दॅट वन अवे लेटर ऑन.
याच्याबद्दल बोलायचंच नाही कारण
ते
त्याच्यात
कोकणातलं काम.
खेकडे होते, हे होतं आणि ते म्हणत होते खाली कधी बघू नकोस.
खाली कधी
आणि
बघू
लहान
नकोस.
होतास तेव्हा खालीच बघत होतो.
Yep.
पण
खाली बघूनच चालायचं असतं, नाही तर पाय कशावर पडतो हे कळत नाही
आणि
ना.
हे दिव्यागडमध्ये तसंच होतं.
हो, हो, अगदी.
आउट हाऊसेस
Same.
सगळे होते तेव्हा.
सगळं.
They were all out houses and कांदळी or they didn't have electricity. And so we had
Kandil.
candles.
Kandil
कंदील
लावायचं.
कंदील. पण 4 आमच्याकडे गायी होत्या, त्यामुळे दूध काढायला लागायचं सकाळी. ते पुन्हा एक्सपिरियन्स म्हणजे वासरू घेऊन जायचं, गाईला लावायचं की दूध यायला लागतं, मग वासराला बाजू करून दूध काढायचं.
Very interesting.
All those experiences we had because my mother was the eldest, the first son's wife, and she brought all the children. So we used to go to Konkan often.
And how about you guys? How often did you
In
go?
our case, we were in Mumbai. First, we were in Mumbai.
पण तुम्ही पण आजी माझी तुझी आई दिव्यागर
Oh,
मध्ये
yeah, yeah.
तर मी
She's
खूप
from
वेळा गेलो.
दिव्यागरला आम्ही फक्त सुट्टीत जायचो.
सुट्टीत
मे
जायचो.
महिन्यात जी
हा,
सुट्टी
तसंच
असायची,
ना.
त्यावेळी जायचं आणि बाकीच्या वेळी आम्ही मुंबईला असतो.
आणि दिव्यागर आणि कोकणात काय करत होते?
फरक होता, कारण आम्ही दिव्यागरला नाही, ते कोकणात आलेच नाही आहेत. मी कोकणची होते ना.
मी पण कोकण.
आमचं वेगळं होतं,
दिव्यागर
पण
is
इट्स अ
कोकण.
No,
डिफरंट पार्ट्स.
so
आम्ही रत्नागिरी, त्रिंबक
त्र्यंबक नाही तळ कोकण आहे.
त्रिंबकला.
या आणि दिव्यागर इथे
वरचं.
अलिबागमधून इथून 5 तास आहे. आणि
आम्हाला कणकवलीवरनं असं वर जायला
हा,
लागायचं.
तिची आई रत्नागिरीमध्ये होते, पण ते सगळं सारखंच
हो
होतं.
हो, रत्नागिरीने आम्ही जास्त सारखं.
आणि ते जनरली काय असतं की माझे जे आजोबा वगैरे ते भिक्षुक होते, म्हणजे ते पूजा वगैरे जायचं, पण त्यांच्याकडे 200-300 एकर जमीन होती.
म्हणजे कोकणस्थ
कोकणाचं आहे.
ब्राह्मण ते
या.
पूजा करत होते.
पूजा करायचं ते. आणि त्यांच्या इथे आता
आमच्याकडे शेती होती. शेती होती, आंब्याची झाडं होती.
माझी आठवण होती की ते मिल्स पण होते
त्यांच्याकडे.
आणि ओला भात
त्यांच्याकडे.
हो,
होता
absolutely.
आणि शेण
भात
होतं
असतं, हो, हो.
जमिनीवर
शेण तर
आणि म्हशी होत्या आणि
शेण
गाय
सारवायलाच
होत्या.
लागायचो.
या आणि खूप वेगळं म्हणजे
सगळं पडून
तिथे लहान होतं तेव्हा मजा होती, कारण गायी होतं, कुत्रे, मांजरी, गायी, बुलक.
शेणाचा उपयोग 2, एक तुम्ही सारवायला आणि एक त्याच्या पॅटीज करून वर वाळवायच्या आणि त्या पुन्हा बर्न करायच्या टू कुक.
Yeah, so this is an important one that nothing went to waste, and the cow dung that they had, and really the water buffalo dung, they would basically use to seal the roofs, to put on the grounds because it was very cooling, and they'd also dry them and use them as patties for heating, right? And then they'd also make gobar gas, as I recall.
आता नंतर झालं आमच्या.
That's new. तेव्हा
That's
नव्हतं.
नंतर.
कारण मी आता गेलोय तर gobar gas.
आता गोबर गॅस करतात. yes.
So when did you guys come here? What generation? You came 2 generations ago from Konkan?
1963.
No, Konkan.
हो, मुंबईला. आई केव्हा आल्या?
तुझे आजोबा का ग्रेट पणजोबा?
भाऊंचे वडील.
भाऊंचे वडील का आजोबा?
भाऊंचे वडील आले.
So that his
माझे
grandpa.
आजोबा.
So
Yes.
my great grandpa.
Yes,
Okay, and how about you?
my father.
Okay, so you were 1 generation out, he was 2.
Yeah.
Very interesting. And you know, looking at where you came from to where you went, we'll get to that in a second. But what do you see as the change having come to Mumbai now?
It's completely different.
In what way?
Because, and it's not only I don't want to digress, but coming to Mumbai and going back to London, where I went, I will tell afterwards, I was there, we were 9 years there. Whenever I visited, all the big cities are developing so fast. We didn't have multi-story buildings like
काही
here
नाही,
we
चाळी
see
होत्या.
everywhere.
And I would say in the last 20 years,
त्याच्यात वाढलंय.
right?
Yeah.
Because even here, a lot of the stuff didn't grow until recently when things became commercialized and made it privatized, right? It was-
More people come in the big towns.
I think
big
there
cities.
was that, but I would say all over India now we're seeing pockets of that.
Sure.
The other thing,
25 वर्षापूर्वी पण हे नव्हतं मधून. आपण
yeah, I think we were shut, and most of it in the last 10.
Yeah.
Like even this building we're in right now
सगळे
is
लहान लहान
5-10 years
फार
old.
तर 2 मजली 4 मजली होते, फार तर 4 stories.
And
So
so,
that's a big change.
so from where you were the first generation or first person to be educated in your family. You went to where? To school?
London.
I went first in Mumbai up to 4th standard and Goregaonkar building, which is at the back of Central Cinema. Then we moved to Dadar, near Shivaji
दादर मध्ये कुठे होता?
शिवाजी पार्कच्या जवळ.
हां. आणि त्याच्यानंतर?
ते म्हणजे बाळ ठाकरे,
कॅडेल रोड.
नंतर वीर सावरकर वेल नियर बाय आवर प्लेस, आणि मोडक इंजिनियर म्हणून एक होते सिटी इंजिनियर.
आणि त्याच्यानंतर काय केलं?
नाही आणि
शिक्षण.
त्याच्यात आम्ही आणि शिक्षणात आम्ही ज्युबिलसमध्ये होतो
Until what grade?
until
High school.
11th SSC
कम्प्लीट हायस्कूल.
10th.
आणि
And then
SSC
in 11th, 12th?
पहिला आलो होतो
Uh,
आणि परवा आम्ही गेलो त्याचे खूप पुढं
आणि त्याच्यानंतर कुठे गेला?
सुद्धा हे केलं आणि त्याच्यानंतर मी SSC झाला मी एल्फिन्स्टनला गेलो
Okay. Elphinstone in
in
Colaba.
Fort, yeah.
Yeah, very nice. We drove by there the other day.
Yeah.
And how it's changed, but it's still the same.
Still the same, but there are more buildings again, the same multi-story building. But an Elvis
And that was 11th and 12th.
खूप कठीण होतं आणि मला ते जास्ती मार्क होते म्हणून मिळाले. आणि कमिंग फ्रॉम ए फॅमिली वेअर इट वॉज नॉट एज्युकेशन वॉज नॉट
प्रायोरिटी.
priority. I wouldn't say priority, but it was not pushed in. It was a big change for me. आणि एल्फिन्सला जाऊन झाल्यानंतर त्यावेळी मी आता सुद्धा मार्क जास्ती मिळाले तर तुम्हाला पुढे जाता येतं आणि मग मी एल्फिन्सनला दादरहून जायचं म्हणजे लोकल ट्रेन 10 वाजता घ्यायची की जिथे तुम्ही लोकलच्या तिथे उभे राहिला की फक्त तुम्हाला आत जायला हे नाही पलीकडल्या बाजूने बाहेर जाय पडता का बा
हे आता धक्काबुक्की तसंच आहे.
अच्छा आता मी
आणि काय काय स्टेशन्स मध्ये बाहेरच पडायला येत नाही.
या
विरारून आला सकाळी तर बाहेरच आतमध्ये शिरायला येत नाही आणि बाहेर पण पडायला येत नाही.
So it was difficult, but why I'm saying it more elaborately, because I did that for 2 years, FY and Inter. आणि
So FY and Inter is 11th and 12th?
no,
No,
11th
after.
झाल्यानंतर 12th
त्यावेळी
and 13th.
10वी आणि 11वी होतं.
Yeah, okay, so it's changed.
हां,
So
it
after
changed then.
SSC, which you can
11वी.
call my matriculation,
SSC
Akravi
is
Madhav.
10th, right?
SSC
No,
is
11th.
But now,
Now
it's
it
10th.
is
आता इज
10th.
10th आणि
Now
मग
it is
तिथे
10th,
2
but
वर्ष असतात.
Yeah, and then I went to Elphinstone. Elphinstone, I got good grades. And being normally I was a Ghashiram. I never left to chance. I would study very hard. I got extremely good
And
grades.
where did that come from? Because in your family,
No,
that wasn't
no,
I think
the
Ram,
focus.
what is creditable is his dad was not into education.
No, he
But
did
his
go,
both
but my
uncles,
went.
एक डॉक्टर
आणि सिव्हिल
आणि एक
सर्जन
अकाउंटंट.
Got it.
आणि
Okay?
the other one was
पण ह्यांच्या
manager.
वडिलांनी ही chose not to go after the inter science or inter whatever that was.
So his role model was really the uncles?
Uncles and yeah.
Well, my
And
role
because
model
the
was I
father
wanted
was
to do
not,
better.
he
look
wanted
at
to push himself
Okay,
because the
fair
father
enough.
was not.
And so from Elphinstone, you went where?
From Elphinstone, I gave elaboration because I was getting tired of traveling by train all the time and standing and all. And here I would have taken a bus to VJTI. I could have got admission in any college. So VJTI, then I decided Pune is better.
Now, is that number one in SSC Pan India or just Maharashtra or where?
I think it's
No,
not, SSC is gone. It's
No, that time is.
that time it was Maharashtra.
SSC was Maharashtra. Yeah. Maharashtra and Gujarat because we were together.
Got it.
Then they
So that's a big
separated
deal,
the states.
right?
It
Yeah.
was a big deal.
And what is that versus a gold medalist? I don't understand.
Gold medalist after the 4 years education.
No, but gold medal.
College मध्ये तुम्ही
So
जेव्हा
that's in your
graduate
college
होता,
years,
yes,
they call it
yes,
gold medalist.
That's what my father was.
Okay.
No, but there are some subjects get gold medal.
Not for the
all
high school.
So then you
all the
went
subjects.
from Elphinstone to where?
To Pune Engineering.
Okay. So that was a big move, right?
Oh,
And you didn't have to go by train, I'm assuming.
No, I
Just
used
once.
to walk from the hostel to this college. And Pune Engineering was one of the 4 colleges which were more than 100-year old.
That's
So
interesting.
it had a history.
And that was back then. When were you
When
in school?
I
then?
joined.
That was in the
That was
50s,
in
right?
50, yeah, 55 I got my SSC.
God. Now we're talking history.
No, 57 I did my inter. And 57 to 60, it was 3-year course. There I did the
So this was
engineering in
10
civil
years
engineering.
after independence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And back then, what was the vibe? Were people trying to get out of India?
No.
No, they were not.
No,
They
no.
wanted to stay in India.
Yeah.
And
That-
what was the
that heart was
situation?
not there.
Why I'm asking you that is the next. It's a prelude to
Because
where we're going exactly. I know with MD's dad, he in 48 had gone to Rensselaer and he had a
Correct.
full ride scholarship there.
Correct.
Sure.
And that must have been very unusual for two reasons. One is because of his circumstances, but also because 48 was a very unstable period for
Yep.
India for obvious reasons. So you went in 58, you did
Pune Engineering. That was 4-year course or 2-year?
In 60 I finished. 3
Okay.
years.
And then what did you do?
After that, I worked 1 year in town planning department,
Okay.
and then after that, I joined the
Gammons.
J.C. Gammon and Company at Duwaran Power Plant,
Wow, that's
which
interesting.
is
Long
And
in
you were what?
Gujarat.
At that point, you were a civil engineer or
Yeah.
a mechanical?
I graduated from Pune Engineering in civil engineering.
Got it.
Then I joined Gammons for 2 years. And then I was thinking, now you're talking of going overseas. Overseas education was considered highly. Because England, you know, you have Cambridge, Oxford, Imperial College where I went.
But what were the obstacles then?
Obstacle was you have to get good marks,
Well, yeah, but
admissions you have to take,
Ah.
and money.
yeah, and the funding, how did it happen back then?
Funding it back as I worked 3 years, as I told you, 1
So you
year in
saved that
town
money.
planning.
Yep, he saved
To it
the
I was
But you didn't
staying-
have to support the family or anything?
No.
No, luckily I didn't.
Okay.
And then
And did you live at home? You were in a hostel.
I was first year I was at home. In school, engineering school, I was in a hostel.
Okay.
But then afterward, when I worked 1 year, I was there. So I was a freeloader on my parents. And my money
You were
was going
staying
in
at
the
home.
bank.
Yeah.
You're
And
staying at
that
home.
was
They
the
put it in
saving.
the
And then the
bank.
second year when you were working for Gammons?
Gammons, I was in Duwaran, so they gave the quarters and
Okay.
also whatever money I saved, I was
And then you
putting-
applied to?
Then I applied to Imperial College.
Okay.
And
And
they
why
take-
Imperial?
Imperial is like Harvard and all.
Yeah, but
In
why?
those days.
England,
Who suggested that?
I will tell you, the most important influence which I got was near our place in Shivaji Park. There was Jain Circle, which is now Senapati Bapat Circle. Across from there, there is a big building called Udyam. That was of city engineer Modak. If at all I thought of engineering, civil engineering, his grandchildren, 2 of them, were friends with my brother who was 1.5 years younger and me, and we used to play gully cricket and we used to meet them. But we heard about, and in their Ganpati program,
Gully cricket म्हणजे काय आहे?
ओके, एका बाजूला मॅनहोल, दुसऱ्या बाजूला मॅनहोल. आणि तिथे आपण
कारण की आम्ही विचारतोय आता स्ट्रीट क्रिकेट येत आहे.
Yeah,
आणि ते गल्ली क्रिकेट आहे साधा.
But we didn't do the overhand. That time it was underhand because
सीझन
we
बॉल
couldn't
होता
do-
का साधा बॉल?
नाही, आपलं टेनिस.
टेनिस बॉल. अरे
तर ते
स्टम्प्स
गली
लावायचे.
क्रिकेट तसंच आहे ना, त्यात सगळे
स्टम्प्स लावायचे, त्याच्यावर लावायची.
खिडक्या
खेळायचं.
फुटतात नाही तर.
नाही, तर खिडक्या तिथे यू हॅव टू बी व्हेरी केअरफुल. तिथे एक ओल्ड माणूस होता, क्रॉस होता, त्याच्या इथे खिडकी फुटल्यावर आम्ही आमचं घाबरत लागलं होतं. आणि नंतर मग एनिवे दीज थिंग्स आकर. बट मेन इन्फ्लुअन्स फॉर मी to go into civil
Was the city
engineering was
हा माणूस.
येस, उद्योगमध्ये राहणारे. आणि त्यांच्यामुळे म्हणजे आय मीन इट वॉज नॉट क्लिअरली से हे यू गो अँड डू सिव्हिल इंजिनिअरिंग, बट आय थॉट इट विल बी अ गुड प्रोफेशन. ते ही वॉज, त्यांनी वैतरणा डॅम होता त्याचे इन्चार्ज.
पण त्यांनी सांगितलं का नाही?
सांगितलं नाही, पण दे शोड फिल्म्स इन देअर. दे हॅड अ बिग हाऊस.
So the whole propaganda engine was on, and they
Well, it
brainwashed
was
him
not-
into thinking it was.
not
But
bad. They were
I'm
not
saying
there.
it playfully, but the point is, how you decide what you're going to
To
do.
go into engineering.
Absolutely.
Because it didn't come from your family, obviously.
No.
You have an accountant, a physician, or a surgeon, and your dad, and none of them went into engineering.
And they were not very close either, you know, to influence him on a day-to-day basis.
And they were positioned at
With different places. So we didn't really.
When
we
you are
didn't
civil
really see
surgeon,
that.
you go to a district and you do. And he, my bigger uncle, the
Eldest
elder
uncle.
uncle went to the war also. I remember him coming in the place in
Interesting.
Grant Road Station. Anyway, so I went to engineering to Imperial College. I got admission in one of the 15 people they take for DIC. And I did that, and once you come out of Imperial College in DIC, if the companies don't have a job, they will give you a job. So I had a very easy go. That you asked me what
So
is
you
it?
were in London for what? From
2 years.
63?
Yes.
63 to
We were
65.
9 years there.
Total but 63 to 65 before you came back.
Was his
again.
Yeah.
Imperial College?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then you came back when?
Yeah.
No, no,
You're
no.
65.
I didn't come back. I came
Marriage.
for marriage.
And you guys got arranged, obviously.
It was in
Yes.
3 weeks. 3 weeks.
Did you
That's the
have like a
custom.
showcase of brides, or how did that work?
She was in
Oh,
Hindu.
no, no, no.
She was in Hindu
He
colony.
he had let त्याच्या आईला सांगितलं मी लग्नाला येतोय. त्यांनी 25 मुली बघितल्या. त्याच्यातल्या 6 सिलेक्ट
आणि
केल्या.
तेव्हा फोटोज नव्हते.
नाही प्रत्यक्ष जाऊन बघायचं, चहा पाणी घ्यायचं आणि मुलगी सिलेक्ट करायची.
That sounds like some hard work
हो
there.
या. आणि मग 6 मुलींना
Shortlist.
सिलेक्ट शॉर्टलिस्ट केलं आणि
त्यावेळी
मग
Excel
मला
sheet
येऊन
तेव्हा
पहिल्यांदा
नव्हतं.
बघितलं.
आणि एक्सेल शीट नव्हता तिथे.
त्यावेळी
लेजर बुक असणार. प्रोज अँड कॉन्स सगळं.
आणि ते
किती
दोघं
वय
नाही,
आहे.
धाकटा पण यायचा संजू बरोबर. 6 वर्षाचा होता यांचा धाकटा भाऊ. तो ही हॅड कम
आणि
टू
फरक काय आहे वयाने?
खूप
मोठ्यात आणि छोट्यात?
अरे खूप आहे फरक. Probably 21 years.
He's like almost my age.
Yes, 21 years younger than Madhav.
So that's another thing in the previous generation.
Yes, they
In
never
the
had
farming
those.
communities, they would have large families, and
नाही त्यांच्या बाबतीत काय झालं, त्यांची मुलं 7-7 वर्षांनी झालेली आहेत म्हणून ते लांब डिस्टन्स त्याचं झालं.
That is
आहेत
a tough-
5च भावंड.
I feel bad for the mom.
आय नो पहिली 3 मुलं लागोपाठ होती 2-2 वर्षांनी, पण त्यांचं चौथं आणखी 7 वर्षांनी आणि 5वं आणखी नंतर.
Okay, so then you got married in when,
when
65?
65. पण ते आमच्याकडे आले, मला करून सिलेक्ट करून 6 माझ्या मुली बघायला गेले.
पाच
मी म्हणते
आणखीन मुली
वाय
बघ.
डिड यू गो टू द अदर 6?
That's
बट
what
डिड
she always asks me.
राईट.
But the
आणि
but
मग
the
मला-
parents have spent time to go through the process, so you have to respect all
आणि
the people.
प्रश्न 2, त्यांची फॅमिली आमची फॅमिली आम्ही
He's
दोघं
catching heat for that even now, you guys.
पुढे काय करणार.